Welcome to Impact Makers Radio, featuring industry thought leaders sharing problem-solving insights to help grow your business and live the life you love. And here's your host, Stewart Andrew Alexander.
Hi, and welcome to another Let's Talk Divorce conversation. And on this segment of the show, I have certified divorce financial analyst, financial forensic analyst, and pre-divorce planning specialist, Michele Laws of Divorce Dollars, who is calling in all the way from Fallon, Illinois. Now, Michele has a wealth of experience in the area of insurance and financial services, and we'll be talking to you today about how divorce settlement mistakes can last a lifetime. And listen to this, ladies and gentlemen, and the importance of empowering yourself with the right team. Now, this sounds like it's going to be a really interesting conversation. Let's not keep her waiting any longer. Welcome to the show, Michele.
Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. So, Michele, can you briefly describe in your own words the kinds of people who you serve and the situations that they find themselves in when they come to you for your help?
The people I serve are those who are either contemplating divorce, that they're actively going through the divorce proceedings at that time, or may have even recently dissolved their marriage and they're just unsure of how to rebuild their new financial life. And I can serve either the husband or the wife. Typically it's the wife because in most circumstances she did not handle the finances during their marriage and she may not have even been the primary income earner. Most cases have various levels of financial complexity. So when they come to me, their emotions and their anxiety are running very high with the fear of their financial future and the situation. They come very hopeless. So I can sit with them and help empower them to make the most out of their lives and their money by assisting them in ways to help them divorce smarter.
Okay, so keeping that in mind and that anything you share with us today, Michele, is not legal advice or legal assistance. Can you briefly share one of the most common misconceptions surrounding how empowering yourself with the right team can help the people who you work with?
Yes, I can. I see a lot of misconceptions and mistakes in the family law on the financial side very often. The most common is that I see a settlement offer that a spouse may have in front of them to decide upon is just for that moment in time. It's on the short-term effect, where in divorce, what is your short-term effect can also be your long-term effect if you don't look into it. And I know that most clients have a lack of financial awareness, and they don't have a real understanding of the financial effect of the choices they're making today. Now, mind you, attorneys do a great job of getting the legal aspect taken care of, but most of them have limited knowledge of the ramifications of the settlement decisions, especially if there's complex assets involved. They don't even look into the future to see how it will serve their client. They look and make sure the client is served today. So what I will do is I will help those clients look into the future and see the real effect of certain income and certain division of assets and how it will affect them into the future and their children.
Okay, so based on what you just shared with us then, Michele, and keeping client confidentiality in mind, can you share an example of how you've helped someone who came to you with those challenges you just described, and what kind of transformational results you were able to gain for them?
Yes, the first one that comes to mind is a case I had a few years ago. We did go to trial. This particular case is for the very high net worth. The wife was my client, and we prepared a particular division of marital assets and a particular amount of support needed so that her and her children could maintain the lifestyle established. The husband and his counsel also prepared something for the courts to show what they felt was the proper division and support amount. In court, we showed both scenarios, and as the expert, I went through and discussed the long and the short-term effect of each. Now, in both cases, since they were large net worth, both of them had large $1-million numbers. And until the cash flow was analyzed, you could not see that there were pitfalls within. Now, in our scenario, both the husband and wife could maintain their lifestyle. They could meet their expenses without having any negative cash flow issues. They didn't have to dip into any assets and deplete them in order to maintain their expenses. And the husband would even regain his net worth by year 5 with our proposal. Now, the husband, on the other hand, didn't look the same way. For him, he meted his expenses, but the wife had a negative cash flow every month. She had to deplete all of her assets and her retirement by year 6, and by year 7, they would have had to sell their home. Now, needless to say, walking through both scenarios with the judge, she ruled in our favor because she understood the impact.
So, Michele, today's topic is empowering yourself with the right team. And with that in mind, and for those divorcing couples wanting to know more, in your experience, Michele, what's the most common but unknown pitfall that you'd like them to be aware of?
I really feel that most clients, they really don't understand cash flow. They don't understand how their income and how their expenses will interact both in the short and the long term. And they don't take into consideration any of the tax implications some of their decisions could have. I find that the financial statements that they have to prepare for the courts, which include their income and expenses, are inaccurate. So when they take that into court and they state that this is my expense, this is my income, that's what they assume they have. When everything is over and the papers are signed and the lawyer is completed, the lawyer's done, then we find that the client has to deplete their retirement accounts, giving up tens of thousands of dollars in taxes and early penalties. Then, of course, it creates a domino effect and reduces their future retirement assets that were earmarked for that, not for short-term needs. So the biggest pitfall is the not understanding their cash flow and what they need to live on and how they're going to get it.
So, Michele, I'm putting myself in the place of our listeners, the divorcing couples that are out there that are listening to you right now. Divorce, finances, very dry topics. Is this something that you really enjoy? You're passionate about helping me, Michele?
I love it. I'm very passionate about empowering my clients to be able to make decisions for themselves. I really feel that the clients who come in to see me again, they're very hopeless and they're very discouraged with what's going on. Was showing them that they do have choices to make in their finances, that they can take control of them, helps empower them, and really give them some hope for the future so that way they can rebuild themselves.
Okay, so with that said then, Michele, I'm sure anybody who is listening would like to know a little bit more about Michele Laws. Who is she? Where does she come from? What really motivates her? So if you could just briefly tell us a little bit about yourself, Michele, and especially in terms of your background and your education, your experience, as it all relates to the topic of divorce, finances, insurance.
Yes, I've been in the financial industry since 1999. I actually started as a personal banker, and I've really enjoyed helping people begin to plan for retirement and manage their money, whether they were married, single, or divorced. It didn't matter. At the time, I also went to school to get a business degree with a specialization in finance. A couple years later, I became a financial advisor and really started doing holistic financial planning for clients. Again, being able to project into retirement, being able to understand how much money they were going to need to live and what they couldn't touch. During this period of time, I actually went through a very complex divorce. It would have been in 2008. During this divorce, I spent over $100,000 in divorce fees. I actually only ended up with 18% of the marital assets.
That's
during my
crazy.
proceedings, believe me, I was just as shocked when it really got down to the brass tacks. But during the proceedings, right towards the end of trial, we discovered a new out-of-state business, some hidden assets, and even some accounts that were forgotten. But because of the time frame and the overwhelming amount of other financial issues, they were completely disregarded and not even mentioned in our court settlement. So after that, I felt very led to start a divorce analytics practice so that I could help others not experience what I did and really empower them to help themselves.
Well, I'm glad you shared that that insight about your background and your own experiences in divorce, or the unfortunate experience that you had, and the 100. Did you say, you didn't stutter, did you? You did say $100,000, right?
Over 100,000, and that was just mine. That wasn't his. I can't imagine what his was.
With that said, then, Michele, I'd like you just to picture the kind of people, those divorcing couples who come to you for your help, and they want to know more about the typical divorce settlement mistakes, and they want to empower themselves. They want to be 100% sure that they have the right team. So with that in mind, what final thoughts would you like to leave that person or those divorcing couples leaving right now who are listening to you right now?
The biggest is, remember that the team is not just their legal counsel to help them navigate through divorce. While an attorney is extremely important in the process, they do have other professionals or experts they can contact to help them divorce smarter. One I always recommend is having a counselor or a therapist to have them to talk to. I do find that there's always an emotional side, no matter if you're the one who filed or you're the one who received. There's a lot of emotions that need to be worked through, and some of those emotions could even hinder the divorce and make it go even longer. Having a financial advisor who's specifically certified in divorce analysis can really help them understand the assets and debts, make sure they're going to be valued correctly, and make sure the tax implications are taken into consideration and different assets are not overlooked. I also feel that their accountant or a new accountant should also be involved, because that could be part of some other projections that we have based on whatever scenarios we're looking at that may be more in-depth or more complex. I do feel that's maybe a pastor, depending on their situation. That could be someone to have. And then also just a really good support group of friends or people that they can speak with, that they won't have to actually pay for, but someone who they can really share their heart with and really be able to work through the issues of divorce. With all of that and having a good team, I do feel it can really ensure both a stable future and prevent any long-term regret, and it can also help prevent a very healthy emotional person going into it. They only have one time to get it right.
Absolutely. So if somebody feels they want to know more about the mistakes that people make in divorce settlements and they want to avoid them, and especially if they want to know more about, empowering themselves with the right team, how would they be able to find out more about you then, Michele? How could they connect with you?
They can actually connect a number of ways. I do have a website, which is www.divdollars.com. They can also email me at mlaws@divdollars.com, or my cell phone, 618-410-7634. That's always the best way to reach me.
Michele, unfortunately, we are out of time. I just want to thank you for coming along and speaking with our guests today. You certainly have demonstrated that you are a true educator and advocate for the success of your clients in the unfortunate situations of a divorce. So thank you so much for your time today, Michele.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. Even more importantly, I'd like to say a big thank you to you, the listener. Thank you for joining us on this, what I can only describe as a very insightful and informative conversation. And it's a pity we didn't have more time to find out about the $100,000 dollars plus that Michele sunk into her divorce. I'm sure there are many lessons we could learn from that, but maybe that's a topic for another show. However, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you do check out Michele Laws. Check out her Divorce Dollars website or drop her an email. Give her a call. I'm sure you're going to be in very good hands. So again, my name is Stewart Andrew Alexander, and we'll be back shortly with some more divorce professionals in this, our series of Let's Talk Divorce Conversations. So until then, take care, have a great day, and we'll talk real soon.
Thank you for tuning in to Impact Makers Radio. To listen to all past, present and future industry thought leaders and trendsetters, visit us at impactmakersradio.com.